All right. Now for the fun part is to actually create a design table that will show us the many variations that we have of each of these guys as separate assembly configurations. So how could we do that? There's actually a number of ways that we can do that. Okay, we can do it manually by creating individual configurations, right? Derived configurations, or actually just creating a new configuration. But since we started using design tables, this is where we could really use the power. If I go insert here, come over to design tables, and again, if we auto create, is this going to be necessary? No, because there's really nothing other than the configurations that we're going to track for each of these parts. But if you take a look, you'll notice that it'll prompt you for nothing, because there's no other dimensions or anything like that, trackable parameters that we've defined just yet. So here's what we'll be able to do. Okay, again, along the rows here, we'll be able to create the different assembly configuration names. So why not go ahead and start with that. We'll do A, B, C, D. Let's make sure that says D, E, and F. Now, the parameter that we're tracking is the parameter of the configuration for each part. Okay? So here, what I'm going to try to do is expand this column again a little bit, just so we could see what we're writing. But remember, we could reformat the cells here, so it's not too important. So what we could do here is we're going to be tracking the configuration parameter for each part. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is use $ and type in configuration. And I should just do this with without my caps lock. So here's $ configuration as the parameter at what's the part name, right? We've got first we've got the frame, then we got the wheel. Okay, and we need to indicate what instance. So there's only one instance of each, so there's 1. Close that bracket, and then hit enter. Now here, next to it, I'm just going to copy that information. Okay, I'm going to copy this information and paste it into the next cell. And what we'll be able to do here is simply modify the name of the part. So instead of wheel here, this is going to be the configuration at frame. Okay, and it's also going to be instance 1. So these are the two parts that are changing. All right. If we take a look at configuration A, right, all we're doing here is entering the name of the configuration. We made it really simple. We called it A, right? As well as for the frame. And here's the B. And here's the C. So all we're doing is here in the assembly file is we're indicating that we're going to create 6 new assemblies, and each of those is going to be different by these two parts showing these different configurations. Now we could also do one for the pin, right? But the pin is not changing, it's staying in its default. And if you recall, the way that we made it the pin was made it to the frame, right? So hopefully, if everything works well right now, we'll be able to see 6 new configurations. And then if we have time, I'll show you how we could do this manually, which you probably won't want to do. All right? Now that you see how easy it is to create it this way. So again, here's the default, right? If I switch over to A, it should look the same. Again, we're in the assembly mode, right? This is the assembly mode. If I look at B, we should see that both the wheel and the frame changed. How can we validate this? How do we know that this changed? Well, let's just jump over here to F, right? The biggest change. Look how that looks. Another way that we could validate is if you select the part and take a look at the component properties, you can see which configuration is set to. It's working beautifully, right? And in this way, my friends, what we could do here is, with one single assembly file and one single part file for each of these parts, we can more easily control the presentation and evaluation of each of these designs. What we can do here now is, at least with the assembly file, since we have these many different configurations, just to show you, let's go ahead and make a new drawing. Yes, we got to save this assembly. Okay, and we'll just start with the generic drawing here. And I'm going to use a B size sheet here. Or let's use a C size. Okay, and let me make sure we got the right units. Okay, so now if we're going to make a drawing that shows, right, that shows these different configurations, here's how we could do this. If you look in the view palette, right, let's use an ISO view. Let's just drag and drop an ISO view here. Now, what configuration is this? How do I know which one it is, right? If I select the view, you can check actually if you just do a right click and look at the view properties. Okay? You can see this is set to configuration A. Let's drop another view in here. Let's go to the view palette. Let's drop another ISO view. Actually, let's I've already used it. It's okay. I'll do a right click and just add another drawing view from the assembly, right? And we'll make it an isometric view. So here's just another view, the same assembly, but now to show the other configuration, all I need to do is select the view, right click, take a look at the properties, and this is where we can take a look at configuration information and change it from A to B. There you go. Now, as well, what we can do here is later put in the design table, right? But I'll stop here because all we wanted to do is take a look at building the different configurations for each of the parts, and then building the assembly as well, and being able to see how we can establish the different configurations using the design table. All right?